Is fear a root or the root of disease in the human?
Fear is responsible for over 90% of the health crisis of the planet. People have been programmed to believe their genes are causing a health problem. The body's not operating right. The genes aren't operating right. Take some pharmaceutical drugs and try to adjust the genes and all that. And it turns out that's not where the problem came from at all.
How powerful are our thoughts in producing our physiology?
It's your belief at any one moment that determines your physiology. Let's open this up right away. People should hear this. There's not one gene that causes cancer. Cancer is a result of...
Bruce Lipton, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I've been following you since I was 17 years old. I'm almost 40 years old. You are
that's not stalking. You weren't stalking, right?
You're an incredibly huge influence in my life and so much of the planet's life. And I just appreciate you immensely. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate you following your light and creating this program to help other people get out of the mess that we have created in this world. And so I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak with them as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce, from your perspective, what is the greatest lie humanity tells itself that causes us the greatest amount of suffering? If there was one lie.
That we are powerless. And to me, that's important because when you're powerless, you don't look for personal control. You look for other people to control and follow them. And therefore, you lose your personal power. Saying a victim means powerless. If I see I'm a victim, then I have to look for other people to guide me. And when we collectively see that we appear to be powerless and have been programmed to be powerless, then we're just something to be moved around on the game board by those people who have the power. And right now, those people are destroying us and the civilization without having a proper awareness of who we really are. This is important for us to wake up to who we are. Simply this, far from victims, we are creators. We are creating our life experiences as we are living them right now. And that is important because if we look at ourselves as victims and we blame all the other people for what's going on without realizing, no, we are allowing that and encouraging that unconsciously with programs that we received when we were very young. There's a very famous quote the Jesuits have used for 400 years. Give me a boy until it is 7, and I will show you the man. Now, let me break that down. Give me a boy until he's 7 is a programming period that we recognize in science that the subconscious mind gets programs in a state of hypnosis for 7 years. 95% of our life after age 7 is expressing or playing those programs. So whoever programmed you in the first 7 years has determined 95% of your life because you'll be playing those programs for the rest of your life. And that is a fact of science. And so the programming, the Jesuits knew it for about 400 years ago. Today, the program is much more sophisticated than the Jesuits could have ever imagined. I mean, all you need to do is see an infant who can barely walk carrying an iPad, and you are looking at some real serious downloading a program in an infant, and that's how it works.
My general belief is that love is a substrate of consciousness and all of life itself, and anything that is not in love is like a fracture away from love into fear. I perceive things as very binary. Everything is love. That's the blanket, foundational, ethereal substrate of all things. Love is all things. Anything that is not love is just a contraction into fear. And once you release the contraction of that fear, you go back to love.
Absolutely.
Is fear a root or the root of disease in the human?
Fear is responsible for over 90% of the health crisis of the planet. We've been blaming, and people have been programmed to believe, well, their genes are causing a health problem. The body's not operating right. The genes aren't operating right. Take some pharmaceutical drug and try to adjust the genes and all that. And it turns out that's not where the problem came from at all. The problem comes from stress. I go, where's stress? Protection. I go, oh, what's protection? Walled yourself off from the world. So in the States, when we were afraid the Russians were going to bomb us, we built bomb shelters, okay? I say, so what? I say, well, on a beautiful day like today, they would have an alarm, air raid warning. Everybody would stop their job, stop the class in school, stop what they're doing, and go into a bomb shelter. But it was a test. So 15 minutes later, all clear, everybody comes out of the bomb shelter and they go back to work again, okay? The problem is, what if we had the warning, the sirens went off, we let go of everything, we all went into the bomb shelter, protection, but there was no all clear. And then I'll tell you what will happen. You will die. Why? Where are you going to get the food? Where are you going to get the water? How can you sustain yourself when you're not involved, but you're hiding in a bomb shelter this whole time, okay? Our protection system, which is the adrenal system, that's the air raid alarm, okay? When the adrenal system experiences stress, it wants protection. I go, what does that mean in the human body? I go, the arms and legs are the protection mechanism, fight or flight, okay? When I'm not in protection, I ask where the blood is in my body, and I say, why? Because the blood is where energy is available. So here's a fact. When you're in a state of growth and harmony, the blood is in the gut. I go, why? Well, that's where all the organs of maintenance are. Charge the body, heal the body, put the energy into the body, control the maintenance of the machine, take care of us, good health, right? But if I'm under stress, and let's go back to the original one, the saber-toothed tiger is chasing me, what am I going to use for protection? Not my liver, my pancreas. I need my arms and legs. I go, yeah, but the blood is preferentially in the gut. So here's what happens. The moment the adrenal hormones are activated, the blood vessels in the gut squeeze shut. You can feel them. It's called butterflies in the stomach, or queasy. When you start to get afraid, you feel a little queasy. I go, that's the blood vessels shutting. I say, why? Because then the blood is pushed to the arms and legs. If the blood vessels are open, the blood stays in the gut. Squeeze the blood vessels and the blood gets pushed to the arms and legs. Why? Run, fight, or flight, okay? That's number one. Number two, if you're in fear, which is stress, the immune system protects you from the inside. I got bacteria, I got virus, I have immune system protection. If the saber-toothed tiger is chasing me, so we're about spending the money on my immune system. I say, yeah. You know why you spend a lot of money? Well, if you've ever been sick, sometimes you're so sick you can't get out of the bed. I go, why is that? Because stress hormones shut off the immune system. Because the energy of fixing something on the inside is not relevant if the saber-toothed tiger is chasing you on the outside. If this tiger catches you, who cares about that bacteria? It's not going to bother you anymore. So stress hormones, number one, shut off the maintenance and health of the body. Number two, they shut down the immune system because I don't need to expend that amount of energy that the immune system uses if the threat is on the outside. Okay? And number three, there's the conscious mind, which is creative, and the subconscious mind, which is programmed. The conscious mind is a very slow processor. The subconscious mind is a super powerful computer. Very fast, super fast. So the idea about this is, if you're under stress, do you want to try and solve that with a very slow processor, or do you want to get the hell out of here? So, and here's the last of the three. Remember I told you the blood vessels squeeze shut when the stress hormones are out? In the brain, the stress hormones cause the blood vessels in the conscious brain to squeeze shut. I go, why? I need the blood in the hindbrain. Run, reflex, react. No thinking. That's slow. So I become less intelligent. Okay? Now let's put all the pieces together. This sounds like a disaster. I say, no. The stress response was designed to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. If you were successful in running away 10 minutes and the saber-toothed tiger is gone, no more stress. All clear, come back to health again. But in today's world, that saber-toothed tiger is on your door 24/7, 365. The idea, we were only designed to use the protection system for that short interval to escape the threat. But what if the stress is 24/7, 365? And I say, you shut off the system, you shut down the immune system, you become less intelligent. I say, and that's what's happening in the world today. That people are getting sick. People have the behaviors, I'm afraid. Why? Protect me. Why? Protection was what the adrenal system said. But if I can't protect myself, then you protect me. And all of a sudden you gave up your power and listened to them. And you now are less intelligent. Why? No more thinking. Now it's reaction. I say it was only designed to last for 10 or 15 minutes, and that's stress. But today, it doesn't shut off. I say, what does it mean? Simple conclusion. You go into the bomb shelter with the stimulus of a threat, and there is no all clear. I said, and how long can you stay alive in the bomb shelter? And it says, you will die in that bomb shelter. You will get sick in that bomb shelter. And this is the world's population as the stress levels are going up every day precariously. The stress levels are building to such levels that you can't even imagine how soon this whole thing is going to crash for a simple reason. I'll tell you right now. How much does food cost? You think it's expensive? It's getting expensive? Yeah, it's going to be more expensive. And you won't be able to buy food. Why? Climate change. I go, what the hell does that have to do with it? I go, you can only grow agriculture if you know what the weather is going to be. If the weather is now chaotic, which is climate change, then prediction is out the window. In America today, in the Midwest, the wheat belt, the food belt where they grow the wheat, Kansas, for example, the climate change has caused a situation that there's no wheat harvest this year. I go, what does that mean? Well, wheat is bread and spaghetti and so many things that we have in our diet. I go, yeah, but there's no wheat. Why? The weather wasn't supporting the growth of the wheat. I said, what about the prices? If our bread was expensive, wait a little bit longer. It's going to be more expensive. I go, so what's the problem? I say, you're not getting more money. And I say, and it's costing you more? There's a point of stress that when enough people get that stress, there'll be an explosion. And that will be an evolutionary upheaval. But we're not there yet. People are accepting the stresses. So things are stressful. Yep. Things are bad. Yep. And accepting it. It's like, you can't keep doing that because it's death. And there's a point where the people will rebel. You can't starve them and expect them to sit there and say, okay, I'll die. They're going to look for that bread. And if you're the 1% and you think you'll have the freedom of this world, you will be living in a house with bars on the windows. Well, another word for that is a prison cell. Why? You're going to have to protect yourself. You think you got everything and they got nothing? They're going to let you get away with it? It's not going to happen that way. So the rich have to really come to an understanding. You cannot deprive the poor people as much as being deprived today by the oligarchs, the corporations, the cost of living. If you're not paying them, there's a problem coming.
What's up, y'all? I want to take a moment and share a word from our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by Kaizen. Kaizen is by far the cleanest electrolyte company that I have come across. They care so deeply about every individual ingredient that goes into these packets. They use microplastic-free pink Himalayan sea salt. They use organic flavors. Mixed berry is by far my favorite. It's insanely delicious. It tastes like you're eating or drinking real food. Sometimes electrolytes, they have like a weird metallic battery-esque type taste. This tastes like food. Tastes organic, it tastes delicious. In the lemon lime flavor, they actually use real lemon and real lime. It's absurd. I haven't seen any company that cares more about their ingredients in the electrolyte space, and I think you guys will enjoy it if you try it yourself. If you would like to try it, you can go to livekaizen.com/align and you will get 15% off. That's live, L-I-V-E, Kaizen, Kaizen.com/line for 15% off. Cheers.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues that I'm observing as I'm listening to you is that men in particular, but humans in general, have examples that we are suggested to look up to of human beings that are stuck in their shield. They live in their shield. They don't express from their interior. They don't express from their heart. They express from their muscles. They express from their car. They express from their house. They express from their materials. And there's an insatiable, hungry ghost kind of energy, almost like it feels like it's like a spiritual epidemic of sorts. It's starting to build up. And to me, I'm observing like a yearning and a desire of myself, and I think the world more. For more, like something more than just the shield. Like I want to feel very deeply.
But that's the sensitivity part that that men have generally been excluded from experiencing because sensitivity gets in the way of being a soldier. You can't be a sensitive soldier.
Yes. Yeah. If you would need to disassociate from other people's suffering as a way to be more like a machine to be able to get the job done for the state.
Yes. And that's it. It's been that way since the Christian era, from the beginning, when the Pope said, "This is how you live. This is what you do. This is how you experience life. And if you don't do it this way, you're a sinner." But let me extend this back thousands of years before that, millions of years, 1 billion years. I go, what? I say, originally cells were both male and female, meaning they didn't need to have a mate with them. A cell could divide on its own. So, interesting point, the original cells had both male and female characteristics. I say, what were they? The female characteristic was vegetation, growth, and the ability to divide and reproduce. I say, what about the male role? I say, that was the skeleton and muscles of the cell. And I go, why? They support the cell. They move the cell. They protect the cell. And so all that was in one cell. The female version, vegetation, protection, male, was in the same cell. But evolution makes it efficient by what? Splitting the cells into two. Female cell over here is the one that does the vegetation, the thinking, the growth, what females do, okay? The males, support and protection, okay? And the problem with that is if they don't come back together and function, support and protection, if not supporting the female, will lead to a destruction of the system. And this is fully expressed in raising children. As I said, male, you raise as that protection thing. Females, that's over here. And the church intended that. Why? females were a threat to the church. I go, why? Because before the church, in the Greek, let's say, for example, the women were the priestesses. The women were the priests. The women's made the special concoction and drinks, like when they in the church, when they come and drink the wine and have the tablet, that part of the church. Well, that was run by women, and the drink they had was a drink that would have hallucinogens in it and wake people's minds up. So the women's priestess work was to take people and wake their minds up and feed them. And when the church took over, that was a threat to the male version of the church. And so they outlawed women, starting with what? Eve. She was evil. Eve, the evil one. She was the one that had knowledge and made Adam, the poor stupid Adam, eat the apple, the stupid idiot. The women did that. Then the women were the witches. Why? They had the consciousness. They had the awareness that transcended the church. And they were a threat to the church. So they burned the witches. And there was a group of separatists called Gnostics. They said, we don't need the church. We can talk with God directly. There was a Holocaust. Nobody talks about it. Millions of Gnostics were killed by the church. Why? Because if you don't need the church, then the institution doesn't have any power. So what do? You eliminate the competition. And the women were that competition. And it extends to the day to where the problem comes from. Boy, am I talking on a circle here, but let me come to close that circle right here. And that is this. We are not supporting women, especially when they're in a birthing situation. And remember that the job of males was originally to support the vegetative process of the cell. Now, the women, as a vegetative process, are not getting the support they need to raise a new generation. And as a result, the male-oriented version of protection supersedes the sensitivity, the vegetation, the growth, the harmony that women have. As I said, you put a bunch of women together in a room and they form a circle and talk. You put a bunch of men together in the room and they organize who's the biggest, strongest one, and the weakest one. They turn it into that linear power structure. Women are based on the harmony. Men are based on the power of the structure.
What do you think about psychedelics as a tool for healing?
I am a proponent of it. I'm a proponent of it for two reasons. Do I need to take a psychedelic? No, but boy, I need to have some good teachers, and I need a lot of time to learn. I mean, becoming, a shaman. It didn't happen overnight because let's learn how to run things. No, it was a lifetime of experience. Okay, and you can get there, but hallucinogens can cut that down to you can have that experience tonight. So, wow, yeah. So hallucinogens are very important to what? Open up the mind on a fast level, because we're on a time scale here that we don't have time for people to slowly awaken to who they are in the shaman power. But you take some ecstasy, you take some magic mushrooms, and I say, well, how come that works? And let me then add this piece. If a drug works, it's because you already make that drug in your system. You don't have receptors for something that doesn't exist already in the system. If I take a magic mushroom and have psilocybin, it affects a receptor that binds psilocybin. The receptor was there before I ate the damn mushroom. I say, well, how could it be there? And it's just, we make our own psilocybin. Yeah, but now we go back to the story of how long it took to get to that shaman state to make your own psilocybin. 10, 20 years or so. I go, yeah, but if you take the magic mushroom, how about tonight? Why? You're feeding as a system already has, but it's not operating until you can get it to work in your system. So, psilocybin or it's interesting because ecstasy is the new one. I go, so what's so important about it? It's the substitute for activating oxytocin. I go, what's oxytocin? The bonding hormone. It's when a baby is being nourished by the mother. The baby's response to the nourishing, downloading oxytocin. The mother's response to providing the milk, downloading oxytocin. What happens? Nourishing the child is creating abundant connection, oxytocin, bonding between that mother and child, okay? Oxytocin is a bonding hormone. So at MDA raves, and all those people come together, and they're all taking MDA or ecstasy. What are they releasing? Oxytocin. Where's that? Bonding. Then all of a sudden, look, all the people in the rave are bonding with each other. Well, yeah. If they did that outside, they could bond with the world outside. And if everybody was bonding, there would be no separation.
The only way to bond with the world in the exterior is to open yourself from the interior.
Yeah,
and that's the greatest fear of people. It's like the Marianne Williamson's a gal that's been there a couple times. She has a quote that I think she coined, that our greatest fear is not failure, but the realization that we're powerful beyond our belief. And it's an interesting thing. I think many people are kind of like a farm animal or a chicken that grew up inside of a farm in the dark. And then when you open up the gate for them to go outside, they're actually terrified of the sun because all they know is the darkness. And so making that leap of being willing to open your heart to the world, I think is one of the most terrifying, heroic, courageous things a human can do. It's just a kind of an invisible feat. And then one more quote that is I apologize for being so quotacious, but there's the Jung quote that everybody already knows, including definitely you. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. And those internalized impressions and fears that we hold, those direct and drive our life. That is the exact operating or programming that you're referring to, that 95%. And our task, Rumi quote now, our task is not to seek love, it's to reduce the barriers where we block ourselves from it. So you are love. There's nothing to do. It is just a process of releasing the barriers where you block yourself from and being able to, courageous enough to face those impressions or those feelings, those states that you didn't feel safe enough to feel at some point in your life. And to be able to now, as a quote unquote adult, which you're not really an adult, you're just a child wearing an adult costume. But while you're wearing your adult costume, be able to draw those emotions up and be seen in those emotions through the eyes of a compassionate witness, hopefully. That, I believe, in my relationship and experience with psychedelics and therapy and different types of ceremonies and stuff, I think that's the thing that is like truly the mechanism for liberation.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Let me acknowledge something very important. There's like a switch, A-B, the human body switch, A-B. A is growth, B is protection. I say they're two separate things because they have two different ways of being expressed. Growth, you have to be open, to assimilate, take something in. If it's love, I have to be open, take in love. If it's food, I have to be open, take in food. So growth is associated with going to a stimulus and taking it in by being open. That's growth. Protection is the stimulus is threatening, so you don't go to the stimulus, you go away from the stimulus and also close yourself down for protection. Growth is open, protection is closed. You can't be in both at the same time. And the issue is this: the more threat we're under, the more we put the shields up, and I'm in protection by shutting off growth. And as we shut off growth, life is limited. Life is threatened. Life is now vulnerable to infection, disease, and all this kind of stuff. And therefore, recognize that the media is not giving you hope. The media is giving you every reason in the world to protect yourself. And the protection, the stress is the result of the protection, and the stress is 90% of illness. So our lifestyle and fear, as you're talking about, you can't live in fear, survive. You can't thrive. How about that? That's the word. Not survive, thrive. Survive means I'm just making it. Surviving, I'm just making it. Thriving means, hey, I'm enjoying it. I got it. I have a lot. I'm thriving, okay? We've been programmed to live in survive, protect, okay? If you understand the nature of the program, you can get out of that, get that damn thing opened up again. Because when it's open, you are open to take things in. And love is the most important nutrient that comes into that when you're open. You can't be in love when this is happening. Love needs you to be open. And since most of us are living this way, love is very difficult for a lot of people because it's opening that thing that was protecting them. You have to be open to do that.
Yeah, the visualization I'm getting is like a well, like a spring releasing water, and the well or the spring is love. It's always coming. It's always coming through. And then atop of that well, maybe someone's injecting oil into it. Maybe somebody's doing a textile factory. They're putting a bunch of toxic chemicals into that. There's all this different stuff atop of that. And it can get so mucky that you forget that you actually live on this amazing crystal well or this crystal spring. And it's just like, oh, we just need to actually do less.
That's the game. And
we're doing too much.
We're working too hard. And remember the Darwin quote, competition, survival of the fittest in the struggle for life. It's a given to that belief that life is a struggle. It's not a question. Now it's a manifestation. Life is a struggle. Oh, yeah? And well, guess what? People are struggling. I go, that's a belief system. Life is harmony and peace. You don't have to struggle. You live in a community. And you realize the better your community, the less work you have to do. Because it's all participation. We're all working in harmony with each other. But you set off community, now it's all dependent on you to get, to live. We don't live as independent. As a matter of fact, there's a story, very interesting, true. In the child's growth, unless I'm going to use a horse, a baby colt, has to learn the rules of living in a herd, okay? Doesn't live by itself. I go, how's it learn this? He goes, as a young baby, the colt is trying all kinds of different hangout stuff. But when it's doing something wrong, the parents nip at the colt. That's the first thing they do, saying, don't do that. Nip, don't do that. If the colt does not pay attention, the parents exclude the colt from the herd. Now the colt is outside. The herd is over here. It's very dangerous to live out if you're a colt by yourself. You're not going to make it. How do you make it? You have to come back into the herd. So the strongest punishment that the animal gets is if you're not playing the game right, you have to be out of the community. And survival outside the community is a very scary proposition and not really very likely to occur. And so even a horse, I'm just giving that the example, is at first they nip them saying, don't do it. If the colt ignores that, then it's like, okay, I gave you the warning, now get out. And that moment of getting out was the wake-up call that says, I don't want to be out here alone. What is it you want me to do? I'm coming back to the community. to be part of a community. And we don't live outside of a community. We don't.
How powerful are our thoughts in producing our physiology?
My story about cells is I grew cells in a petri dish. I started with one cell in a dish. It's called cloning. Cloning is you put one cell in a dish, it divides every 10 or 12 hours. First there's 1, then 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. At the end of the week, I have 30,000 cells in the petri dish. They all came from one parent, so they're all genetically identical. I then split the cells into 3 petri dishes, 30,000 cells split into 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 3 dishes. All dishes genetically identical. I changed the culture medium in the lab. It's a fluid that we grow cells in. I said, what the hell is culture medium? The laboratory version of blood. I changed the chemistry of the culture medium slightly and feed each dish with a slightly different culture medium chemistry. In dish 1, the cells form muscle. In dish 2, the cells form bone. In dish 3, the cells form fat cells. I say, what controlled the fate of the cells? I say, they were all genetically the same. The chemistry of the growth medium. Okay? Now, let's go from petri dish to a human. A human is a skin-covered culture dish with 50 trillion cells. And the original growth medium, blood, that's the original growth medium. It's the chemistry of the blood, like in the petri dish, that determines the genetics of the cells in the dish. Then I say, okay, I'm a skin-covered petri dish, 50 trillion cells, and the original growth medium, blood. But it's the chemistry of the blood that determines the fate of the cells. So I say, what controls the chemistry of the blood? I go, the brain is the chemist. And then comes the biggest and most important question. What chemistry should the brain put into the blood? And the answer is, whatever you are thinking, those thoughts determine the chemistry of the blood. If you're thinking love, you put in dopamine into the blood, pleasure. You put in oxytocin, bonding with the lover. You put in growth hormone, which enhances your vitality. When people fall in love, they're healthy. I say, oh, what if you have fear? Oh, you don't release that chemistry in the brain. The brain releases stress hormones and factors that affect the immune system. So each different thought ends up with a different chemistry from the brain. So the brain translates thought into chemistry, which chemistry then controls biology and behavior. And all of a sudden it's like, what are you thinking? Why? Because that is going to create the chemistry of the body, which in turn will create the genetics and the behavior of that biology. And all of a sudden, that's why we come back to biology of belief. It's your belief at any one moment that determines your physiology. Cancer. Let's open this up right away. People should hear this. There's not one gene that causes cancer. There's no gene that causes cancer. Where's cancer coming from? Not living in harmony. And as a result, you break up the harmony inside. Not living in outer harmony, you lose inner harmony. And cancer is a result of behavior that is not supporting you in harmony. And that behavior over time will change the genetics, epigenetics, control about the gene, the chemistry from the thought, will create cancer. There's no gene that causes cancer. And I say, why is that important? Because the conventional belief is kill the cancer cells. I say, that's not the problem. The problem is the chemistry that's feeding cancer cells. You have to change the belief system. And that's how you cure chemistry, or cancer, how you cure it is the chemistry of the belief. And therefore, but you've been programmed by the people who've taken away your power. I mentioned the doctors. You lost your power. You gave up health to them. They say kill the cancer cells. I go, that's not the problem. It's the chemistry that is nourishing the cancer cells. That's the problem. So killing cancer cells does it cure cancer? Not necessarily. Just push it off for a while until it regrows, either in the same place or a different place. And yet you've been programmed to believe a gene has caused this. And I say, and the consequence of that program, I'm a victim. The genes gave me cancer. And nothing to do with me. I go, just the opposite. It was everything to do with you, not the gene.
Yeah, the body will develop compensatory strategies the same way that the personality will develop compensatory strategies. Anytime that the body or the personality goes out of a feeling of safety and love and connection, and they're existing in fear, then they will compensate around that to create protection. It's the same thing that that your physiology will do, or your cells will do. And so, as below, so below.
Yeah, the cells are like miniature people in their biology. They have the same needs. Your need for air, water, food is actually the cell's need for air, water, and food. So you have 50 trillion citizens, but they depend on what? The chemistry of their world. And I say, yeah, but what's that dependent on? The consciousness of the person programming that biology. And if your consciousness has been misprogrammed for 7 years, then you will manifest a dysfunction. As long as you have a bad program, you will manifest a dysfunction.
And I think that sometimes in like the allopathic Western model of medicine, we are taught to treat symptomology, but oftentimes as well, like attack the symptoms. And
it's a war zone. It's a war.
And it'd be a similar thing. It would be very simple. If you had a 3-year-old child and the child was acting up in some way, you would probably show the child compassion, love, forgiveness, grace, empathy, understanding, and deep listening. Naturally, it's a little kid. We don't give ourselves the same grace as an adult, and we don't give our physiology the same grace as our biology.
Because we're not even using the conscious mind, because the program of that protection mechanism and what happens in that first 7 years, that's a program. That's operating below your awareness. You don't know you're playing a program. I go, why not? I said, well, why are you playing the program? Because you're thinking 95% of the time. I go, so what? Well, thinking is not looking out at your interaction in the world. Thinking is looking in for a thought. So when you are playing a program, you're the only one that can't see the program. Everyone around you sees your program. If it's a negative program, they're going to respond to you as a negative entity. Are you going to see you're playing a negative program? I say, no, absolutely not. Why?
Yeah.
You're playing the program because you're not paying attention. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's like, so the victim is actually the cause of the problem. I'm a victim because all those people are treating me this way. I said, they're treating you that way because your behavior you're releasing that you don't see is causing them to respond to you that way. And therefore, personal responsibility, which nobody really wants to own.
And you can begin to perceive your life as a teacher, every detail of your life as a teacher. And the greatest teachers for most people will be the people that you have the most charge, or even the people that you hate. And so if you want to improve your own life, start looking at the things and the people that you hate, and make that be your sadhana, make that be your spiritual practice, and find a way of like, okay, can I kind of find a little bit of deeper listening and passion for this thing that's so charging within me? And then use that as an exercise to see if that potentially spills out into like other parts of one's life.
That, my friend, is it. And I'm glad you're there, because your communication is an evolutionary enhancement of civilization. To me, that's why I'm excited to be here with you, because Aaron, you're helping so many people by knowledge is power. We need to give them knowledge because they have been programmed with incorrect knowledge and are trying to live through programs that are self-destructive. And the only way out is knowledge is power. So I thank you for your broadcast because it's a wake-up call. That's what I see it as.
I'm a continuation of you, man.
Well,
It's true.
then we're all in this together, my friend. And that is your health and happiness and my health and happiness is dependent on their health and happiness. And if we can help them, then our life is better. That's what the game is. Everybody should be helping each other up because your life gets better when those around you, their lives get better. That's simple reality.
If the subconscious mind is a million times stronger and more influential than the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind is processing millions and millions of bits of information, and the conscious mind is processing much, much less per second or any time frame. Where does the subconscious mind exist in the most scientific explanation possible? Is the subconscious mind in the brain? Is it in your environment? Is it in your body? Is it in your stomach? Where is the subconscious mind?
It's in what's called the field. Each of us is an energy receiving device. Each of us, analogy, is a television set with antennas receiving a program. The program, by technical definition, is an energy field, quantum physics, specifically called spirit. I go, what's spirit? It's a drive force that's being picked up by protein antennas in your brain. The spirit is not in the body. The spirit is a broadcast received by the body. I said, well, what does that mean? I said, no two people in the whole world are downloading the same broadcast as you. I go, what does that mean? I say, this is why I cannot put my cells into Aaron's body. Because if I put my cells into his body, his immune system will look at my cells and say, not self, and destroy them because they'll be messing up the system. If Aaron puts his cells into your body, your immune system will say, not self, and destroy those cells because they're interrupting the community. So here's the point. The immune system can tell your cells from everybody else's cells. So the immune system sees physical things, viruses, bacteria, parasites. What does it see when it looks at a cell as to whose identity it is? And the answer is, on the set of our cells, on the surface of our cells, is a group of proteins, and the name of this group, self-receptors. Well, it was misnamed, but it's the perfect name. It misnamed at the beginning, but it turns out to be the perfect name. Why? Receptors are receivers. They're antennas. They're on the surface of the cell. Your set of self-receptors, no one else in the entire world has. Every one of us has a completely different set of self-receptors. Yeah, but they download environmental signal. That's what antennas are. Receptors, receivers, antennas. I go, so what does that mean? Your cells are downloading an environmental signal to your receptors that no other human on this planet has the same set of receptors. Each of us is downloading an energy field through these receptors. Yeah, but your receptors download your field, mine download my field, so let's give it a better name, spirit. My spirit is a different source than your spirit. Why? You're downloading a different vibration. That's what the receptors are, downloading an energy source, a vibration. I go, so when you put this picture all together, that's why I like the television analogy. My body is a television, but it has antennas downloading a program. And the program that's downloading is an energy field, which for each of us is a different broadcast. So each of us is receiving our own station, so to speak. Well, then give it the name spirit. My spirit is different than your spirit because my station is different than your station. Well, what's the relevance of this? The relevance is profound. I go, why? Well, when you're watching a TV and the TV breaks, we say the TV is dead. I go, yep, no longer responding. TV is dead. Did the broadcast die? I go, no, the broadcast is not part of the television. The broadcast is picked up by the television. Broadcast is in the field. So why is that relevant? You cannot die because you are the broadcast. That is who you are. You're the spirit. And here's the beautiful part. Well, I died. My television is broken. My spirit's still the broadcast. And an embryo shows up in the future with the same set of antennas. Well, that's me. I'm downloaded into the new TV, the new body. Does it make a difference if male or female? Nope, that's the TV. That's not the broadcast. Does it make a difference if that new TV is black, white, red, yellow? No, that's the TV. That's not who you are. You're the broadcast. If humans understood this, we all recognize we all are from the same broadcast. But our television sets are different. And our programs are different. And all that aspect of it. What's the point? You cannot die. You're immortal. But your life experiences, to a large degree, are uploaded back into the spirit. So the next time you come in, you already have a flavor from a previous life experience. So we didn't come in here as newbies. We came in here as previously having a life, which influenced us. Oh, karma. That's what they call it. You came in with karma, a pre-programming that you had from previous life experiences that affect this life experience. And I go, so why is all of this relevant? And it's relevant because, number one, you cannot die because you are not the body. You are the spirit. The body is unfortunately used in our physical manifestation world as making me separate than you. My body is different. My skin color is different. My religion is different. Yeah, but that was a download. That's a program. We're not different. All of us are from the same source. That's humanity. And, okay, so I'm going to say it. Well, each of us is a creator. We're creating our own life. I'm not creating Aaron's life. Aaron's creating Aaron's life. I'm creating my life. But guess what? We all came from the same source, and we're all creators. What would you think you would call the collective source? Thank you, Aaron. Each of us is a piece of God. Each of us creates, but not for the rest of us. Each of us is given our own personal opportunity to create. But if we create in community, then that creation's manifests. And if we've been programmed to create war, then war manifests. Not that we wanted that, but that was a program. Religion, unfortunately, is a program. We all came from the same source. So we all came from the same God, the same energy field. But religion separates us. My field is this, and you want to join me, then we're all going to join and be this field. And your field is one we don't like. So we're going to kill you because your field is one we don't like. I go, religions cause separation. They're supposed to give us unity and harmony. But there are Jews, there are Christians, there are Muslims. Are they living in harmony? Nope. Are they living by program? Yes. Does the program cause separation? Yes. Can we come together in harmony? No. Not as long as the programs are providing 95% of our lives.
What does hatred do to your genetics?
What is what? Hatred do what?
What does hatred do to your genetics?
It causes us to get in protection and wall off and fight the opposite one. That they're threatening to us. And hatred, it's really funny because people say love and hate were opposites, okay? No, it's love and fear are opposites. Why? And this is funny because people don't see it. Hate is a very strange form of love. I go, huh? Well, love is holding on to somebody. hate is holding on to somebody, but not when you want to hold on to, but you're holding on to them. So it's a strange form of love, inverse love. I'm holding on to you, but I don't like you. That's love. Why? Letting go is where the fear comes from. Fear is not letting go. Fear is open up to, oh my God, you're threatening me. And I'm holding on to you. I don't want to be here. And I'm not a religious guy. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in that for sure.
Yeah.
And Jesus was a great prophet. He said wonderful things. It's the interpretation of Jesus that causes all the problems. I mean, even within the Christian religion in Ireland, the Catholics are fighting the Protestants, and both of them believe in Jesus. It's like, how's that happen? You know? And the point about that is it's the programming that made that difference. The programming says, my program is better than your program, and your program is scary to me, so the way I must protect myself is to eliminate you. War, violence, all that stuff. Why? I'm protecting myself because you threaten me with the way you are living. And the way you are living is a program. So whoever programs you, put you into that bind, so to speak, to deal with how am I going to live through the programming I got? And the answer is change the programming.
I believe this conversation hits at the core of what's, I think, some of like the most important concepts a person could begin to grasp and grok and digest and integrate. And if they were to allow the concepts to actually really penetrate and become embodied and expressed, I think it much of what's discussed in here would actually genuinely be a pathway towards liberation of the self.
I came from teaching the rigid belief of the medical system and genetics and all that, broke out of that system and was able to live that life that you just mentioned, Aaron. I decided to fix the programming that were taking away life from me and rewrite them with beliefs that support my wishes and my desires. So I'm still playing programs 95% of the day, but guess what? The programs now, after I rewrote them, are the same as my wishes and desires. So either I'm conscious in creating my wishes and desires, love, or I'm unconscious by thinking, but my program is still manifesting my wishes and desires. So I live this wishes and desires whether I'm thinking about it or not thinking about it, because both minds are in harmony to manifest the same belief.
My question is, how does one most effectively take the concepts in this conversation beyond intellectual understanding and actual subconscious being?
The first thing is this. You've been programmed. Yeah, but you were programmed before you were conscious. You were programmed before you were born. Tell me that program. Oh wait. You were programmed the whole year from 0 to 1. Tell me what program. No, you're not. Oh, you were programmed another whole year from 1 to 2. What program did you... Oh, you don't know that one either. And around 3 or 4, you start to remember the programming aspect, okay? But your fundamental programs are already downloaded. You don't know what they are. Why? You were not conscious when those programs were being put into your system. So now I'm saying your programs are running your life. And then he said, but I don't know the program. So then the simple part is this. The things you like that come into your life didn't get there by accident, because you have programs to support those things coming into your life. And here's the critical part. The things you work hard at, stress over, strive over, put effort into, I'm sweating over, I'm making it happen. Why are you working so hard for that destination, be it health, money, relationship, whatever? You're working to make it happen? Do you understand why? And the answer is because your program does not support that destination. And you're using your effort to try to override that program. Well, as you mentioned, Aaron, that brain with millions of times more power than the conscious mind, mathematically, it's very difficult for that conscious mind to override the program of the subconscious, you have to learn how to reprogram the subconscious. And I have this on my website. So let me just give the website, okay? BruceLipton.com. Under resources, look at belief modification, belief change. It's in the resources. There are 3 fundamental ways. I'll just mention them. How did you get to belief day 1? Well, actually, before you were born, through age 7. Your mind was in a lower vibration called theta, which is hypnosis. Every night when you go to bed, as you start to fall asleep, you go from your conscious being into sleep. You pass through theta. So there's a moment just after you fall asleep. You're not there now. Consciousness is disconnected, but your brain is in theta. So if you put earbuds or earphones on and play a program you want to be real in your program database, then every night before you go to bed, you put the earbuds, earphones on, push play, and as you fall asleep, the moment the conscious mind disconnects, the program is going straight down into the subconscious. It's called self-hypnosis. You got the program through hypnosis? Self-hypnosis, put a new program in. Number 2, that works through age 7, but you got programs after age 7, how to drive a car, how to play a music instrument, how to do your job. You learn programs, okay? I say, oh, well, how'd you learn programs? You were not in hypnosis. I say, repeating something, repetition, practicing. You want to drive a car? Practice driving a car. You want to play an instrument? Practice playing an instrument. Practice, repetition can create a program. You want to change your life? Then practice a new behavior. There's a silly saying, but true. It's about the idea that your mind is controlling all this, and you can rewrite it. So you can think your way into a new program. You can manifest it by practicing it. And the more you practice something, the more it becomes a hardwired program into the system. So the old new saying is, fake it till you make it. If you're not a happy person, then all day long to yourself, not telling everybody, to yourself, I am happy. I am happy. You're repeating this. You're not happy in the world. Yeah, but you're repeating, I am happy. I am happy. I am happy. And after a short time, guess what? You'll wake up and you'll be happy. Why? Because once the program is in there, you don't have to think about it. It's automatic. That's the point. And so habituation of a new behavior will change an old program, override the old program, okay? That's number 2. And number 3 is something new called energy psychology. And I say, what is that? It's a process of super learning, a way to download new information as programs, not in hours and days and weeks, but in minutes. And if you understand this, it's a switch that engages the super learning process that can download new behavior 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. But you have to get the brain to coordinate that. And it's an integration of the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. Most of them have an exercise that when you get the 2 hemispheres coming together, you're in a state of super learning. A child under 7, the left and right hemispheres are integrated. They are super learners. They can hear something once, download it at that point, okay? And I go, well, where's the problem? After age 7, they're not physically separated, the hemispheres. They're functionally separated. I go, so what's the difference? Intellectual, left hemisphere, emotional, right hemisphere. Before age 7, intellect and emotion are programmed together. So every experience you have has an intellectual awareness to it and an emotional experience to it, okay? After age 7, the brain is sometimes a few hours into the intellectual side, and then it's a few hours into the emotional side. It's a wave, intellectual, emotional, intellectual. So during the day, one hemisphere over the other hemisphere in a cycle. If you want to get super learning, You have to get both hemispheres to come back together again. And there's a way of bridging them through posture. It's called the whole brain posture. And if you get into whole brain posture and you get those two hemispheres to integrate, you can rewrite a belief that's bothered you your whole life, usually in 3, 4, 5 minutes, about usually how long it will take to change that belief.
What does the whole brain posture look like?
I'll give it to you because most people are doing it sometimes without realizing it. My right arm is controlled by my left hemisphere, right? And left hemisphere is controlled by my left arm by right hemisphere is the opposite, okay? So I'm moving my right arm. It's controlled by this hemisphere. But look what happens. What if I move it to the other side of the body? Now it's moving over here. Well, also now it gets picked up by this hemisphere. Remember, it's controlled by this one. But when it crosses to the other side of the body, that's the domain of this hemisphere. So when you cross your arms and your wrists like this, you go like that, both hemispheres are working at the same time because you're crossing the midline with them. And if you cross your ankles at the same time, it enhances it. Now go back to this. Next time you're hanging out, next time you're with other people, and you're hanging out, and people are relaxing, they'll have their ankles crossed. Watch them. You sit down, you cross your ankles. I go, why is that? It calms you down. Integrating the hemispheres is calming. But that's just, your ankles are being used when you're sitting down talking with people. Just next time you're hanging out with some people, check out, see where their ankles are. They're usually crossed, okay? If you cross your arms and your ankles, then you get the enhancement of that interconnection of right and left. That opens up the super learning. Now, before you do that, you have to recognize, do I put my right arm over my left arm, or do I put my left arm over my right arm? And the same with my leg. There's a difference. And you have to identify which one is the one that you want to have, because it activates the system to enhance the reprogramming. If you get the right hemisphere over the other hemisphere, which one is the right one? And you do muscle testing. Okay, now I have to close with this because now I have to say, well, what the hell is muscle testing? The conscious brain is a small physical unit of a brain. The subconscious is a massive unit of the brain. 90% of the brain physically is subconscious, 10% conscious, okay? A little significance. Muscle action, to lift my hand, move my fingers, make a point, do whatever I want with my fingers, is the brain controls the muscles. Well, my conscious brain can't control all the muscles of the body. It's not big enough. So muscle control is in the subconscious, okay? Now comes the issue. Conscious is creative. Subconscious controls the system underneath. Now, if I make a statement using my creative mind, my subconscious tries to see if the program agrees with what you have learned in your life. So I say, my name is Bruce. And my subconscious goes, oh yeah, your name is Bruce. Both minds are in harmony. When both minds are in harmony, the muscle is powerful. But I make a statement, my name is Aaron. And my subconscious goes through the database and goes, it's not, you're not Aaron, you're not Aaron. I say, then what happens? The conscious mind and the subconscious mind don't agree. I go, what's that happening? What's the result of not agreeing? It limits the power of the subconscious mind. In disharmony, it loses its power. And since it controls muscles, when you are in a state of disharmony, your muscles become weak. When you're in a state of harmony, your muscles are strong. So muscle testing is you pick some muscle you want to test. It could be your arm, push up and down. It could be your head. Okay? It could be your finger. anything that has muscles, okay? And then you make a statement with a conscious mind. And then you test. You start with a positive statement, so you know what positive is all about. So I make a positive statement. My name is Bruce, and I push on my arm. It's not arm wrestling. Some people men think it's arm wrestling. You push down, I'm pushing up. No. Muscle testing is you keep it from going down. It's not you making it go up. You keep it straight. If I make a statement that is true, my muscle is strong as a rock, no matter how much I'm trying to push it. It's very, very strong. I'll move the body before I move the arm. If I make a statement that is wrong, and my subconscious recognizes that's not true, the muscle strength goes and the arm drops. Muscle testing, okay? And what am I testing? The strength of my muscle. Yeah, but what are you testing by doing that? The connection between the conscious wish, desire, creative mind, and the existing program. I love myself. 90% of people, their arm will drop down. Why? The subconscious has a memory of being criticized, and that criticism takes away love. And therefore, I want to reprogram. I love myself. Oh, well, I found out I muscle test by putting my arms together like this and seeing, is it stronger when my right's over my left, or when I push down on it, is it stronger if my left is over my right? I find that this is a strong one, so I lock myself in. I test for my ankles. Actually, I test first. I cross my left leg over my right leg, and I can test with any muscle, so I use my arm. If I test, I put left over right, and it's strong, that's a good sign. If I put right over left and it's weak, it says, no, it's the other one, okay? So in every belief, you have to retest, because there's the issue, the intellectual part of the belief or the emotional part of the belief. It's almost always the emotional part. I go, significance, and this is important. When you're reprogramming in the whole brain state, you don't erase the memory of what the experience is. You erase the emotion that is activated by the experience. If you've been abused, you can eliminate the emotional anxiety of the abuse, but you'll still remember you were abused. Because if you forget you were abused, you can get abused again, and then you have to, it's like going over the bridge. You break the bridge, you got to build it again, go over the same one. But this energy psychology doesn't take away the experience of the event. It takes away the emotion which controls the biology of that event. So if you have no emotion to it, it has no power over you. If you're deeply emotional to that event, if that event shows up or in some way is brought back to you, you are again engaged in that emotion. So what if you have a negative thing and you erase the emotion? I go, then it will never bother you again. You'll still have a memory, that happens, but the emotion won't take over if you change the belief about it. And that's a lot to do with which arm goes over which arm, which ankle goes over which ankle, because it dominates. Where's the problem? Left brain experience or right brain emotion from the experience?
So interesting.
Muscle testing. It's real. It's not a new age gimmick. It's a recognition of subconscious controls muscles. Make a statement with the creative mind. I have two heads. Subconscious goes, no, you don't. Disharmony of the conscious and subconscious, weakening of the muscle. Harmony, strength.
What's so amazing about that, and then we'll wrap up, because I think we've already probably well gone over time, but I think the human being is just so sweet and so precious, and the human being is so honest, and it's so innocent. And that's the lie that we don't remember. We think that we're not that. And you know that you are that because you become physically, physiologically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually weaker when you're in a state of inauthenticity or a lie. Your systems, your body systems shut down when you're telling a lie, because inherently you love to be honest. Like it is your nature. You are not a bad person. You are not evil. There's
we
no
were
such
born,
thing. There's only hurt people.
Yeah. We were born with the love. We were not born with hate and anger. We
Correct.
learned
learned it.
And anger.
Yes. That is
and
the
as
lie.
you said, it becomes an emotional character and a physical character. But the emotional character is the chemistry of the thought and the behavior. And so, as you said, if you're not in harmony, you can feel it. You can know it and work from that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think life is like an unfolding or a process of remembering that you are that which you seek. And sometimes it is challenging to be able to read the ingredients from inside of the jar and be able to see yourself. But in the process of shedding those layers of lies, which are contractions or fear, the concept of you need to reduce yourself down to zero to truly come into yourself. And as you strip yourself more and more and more, you actually become more of yourself. And you realize like, oh my God, like I'm actually connected to all beings and all things. And I was never born and I will never die. And I'm way more powerful than I anticipated.
Thank you. That is the whole story in the short part. And mine was the long part, but yours was right to the point, the short part. And it's accurate. And people that are listening, it's that simple. But we have been programmed. Life is difficult. Change is difficult. Those are programs that will interfere even with the idea of making a change. If you believe change is difficult, you've already put a monkey wrench into the machine of change. You've already agreed that's not going to be easy. Now it's not. We have to change these beliefs.
All right. Well, thank you, Bruce. You've been one of the primary inspirations in my life for a very long time. So I really appreciate you.
I'm just honored that you are doing this. I'm honored that you are doing this because you reach a big audience more than me sitting in my room right here.
Well, we do it together. So you have a book, which we'll include all this stuff in the show notes and all that. But maybe we can have like a part 2 at some point. But the book Beyond Darwin is coming out in August. Yes. And so we'll include show notes, information, all that stuff. And I would love to have you come back at some point if you're open to it.
Well, I'd love to hang out with you. It's more fun to hang out with people that are singing the same song.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for those that are not singing the same song, it's a process of compassion and, understanding and listening.
Yeah.
All right. I love you, bro. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy. I really want to thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Aaron, for this.
Thank you, man. Thank you for tuning in. That's it. That's all. I'll see you all next week.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, you might also enjoy this episode over here, as well as this one over here. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video.